Live! Hooray! Nobody here. Guess that's because I just turned it on. Hello, friends. Hello, people. Hello, those of you watching in the rerun. This is for people who aren't here. This is for people watching later, whether it's tomorrow or 2019. Today is June, what's today? June 16th. June 16th, 2018. That's today. And my name is Luke, and in this live class, live stream, we're going to be answering questions. This is what we do. I get questions from people who are learning English, who are studying English, who are trying to improve their English, and I answer questions. I answer those questions as clearly as I can. Yunjong is here. That's good. Regular, that's good. So I hope you, if you are interested in improving your English, you can join us each week, ask questions each week. Hello, Anko. Hello, hello. And the more people who come and watch, the more people who ask questions, the more everybody can improve. How are you guys doing this weekend? I am in a different room today. Before I was in my office, now I'm in my living room, which is actually near my kitchen. The kitchen is over there. In the early ones, before I used to go out, I probably will do some in the near future where I will go out to do the live class, walk around, show you something interesting while I answer questions. That might make it a little bit more fun. But this time we're going to be just hanging out at my home in New York. If you don't know me, my name is Luke. I'm an English teacher. I've been teaching English for quite a few years. I have a lot of videos on YouTube, so you can check those out. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't done that already. And I like your name. God damn it, what? That's really funny. Great name. How's my day going so far? It's going very well. I just finished doing another live class on Huajiao, which is a Chinese live streaming app, because the Chinese audience is quite large, so I do other live streams too, but I'm enjoying doing these on YouTube. And might be starting them on Facebook too. I'm also thinking about starting a Facebook group, but I want to make sure if I do that, I have time to actually focus on it. I don't want to start something and then not be able to pay attention to it, you know? So we'll see. What do you know about Brazil? That's a good question, Judy. The largest city in Brazil, I think, is Sao Paulo. I think Sao Paulo is larger than, I think it's the largest, isn't it? I know that, let's see, what else do I know about Brazil? My father's girlfriend had a girlfriend from Brazil before, and he lived in Sao Paulo, and he told me that the public transportation in Sao Paulo is really good. Let's see, what else? Well, Brazil is very well known for football. Brazil is famous for football, but I'm not that interested in football. You guys may be interested in the World Cup. Don't really care about the World Cup. Not that interested. In America, yes, coffee. I care about coffee very much. In America, what we call football is what is American football. That's much more popular, where people hit their heads together and hurt themselves. But I don't really like that either. Basketball is also really popular. I'm not that interested in basketball. I'm not really a huge sports fan. But I know the World Cup is very important for a lot of people, and I think that's cool. But if people ask me, which team do you support? I say, I don't know. Yes, I was going to say about Brazil. There's also yeah, Brazilian coffee, and also the jungle. When I think of Brazil, I think of the rainforest. I think of the Amazon. I think of deep, thick forests. I know that that's not true in cities, but I know that there are some jungles in Brazil and along the river, um, protected areas, which is good, which is cool. Other than that, not I would say not that much. For example, if you asked me the price of eggs in Sao Paulo, I couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you the price of eggs in Sao Paulo. But I'm very interested in visiting Brazil, and I'm very interested in visiting South America because I've never been there. I've never been to South America, and I want to very much. I'm interested to explore. I've been to Africa, I've been to Asia many times. I've traveled around Asia a lot, and I've been in China for a long time. I lived in China for 4 years. I go to Beijing a lot, but for some reason I just haven't made it over to South America. I'm interested in going to Colombia. I'm very interested in going to Chile. I'm very interested in going to Brazil. Maybe Argentina, not so much. But where would you recommend, Judy? Are you from Brazil? If so, where would you recommend I actually visit if I do go there? What do I have any hobbies? Yeah, my hobbies are okay. So a couple things. One of my hobbies is work. I work all the time, probably about 16 hours a day. I work like crazy, 7 days a week. I have another company in Beijing. It's a language teaching company called Yoli. I work on making videos. I write curriculum. I teach a few students. I work on some other projects like I'm working on a treasure hunting project, which is basically to create stories in cities that people explore, and through those sort of adventures, they can find treasures and learn about the city. So I'm interested in that, and I'm thinking about starting a podcast. I actually did the first episode a few days ago, and it was interesting. It was quite interesting. So I might be doing a podcast, and I might also be doing some other projects for language learning. I also make courses on Udemy. Udemy is like a video course platform, and I have several courses on Udemy. I'm working on 2 new courses. One is going to be a master course, which is going to be 30 hours long. It's going to be ridiculously long, and hopefully extremely useful. And the other one is going to be a shorter course about expressions, common expressions in everyday situations. And the other one is going to be, I'm going to maybe do one more about professional English. Ah, you're from the capital. Something about Brazilians, we're very friendly, so I think it'd be good time here and make a lot of friends. Yeah, I'd like to. That's the best part about traveling is making new friends. Good. New Yorkers are generally not so friendly, not classically, not traditionally. New Yorkers are kind of known for being unfriendly. I'm not a New Yorker though. Yeah, I mean, that's the only language I teach. I'm not fluent in any other language. So, yes. I teach English mostly. That's sort of my main thing. English teaching and also English training. The company, Yoli, I don't actually do much teaching there except for videos and live streams, but I design all of the curriculum, the classes for that platform, and also I'm in charge of all of the recruiting and training. So I'm one of the co-founders of that company. So I don't actually do the teaching myself, but I train the teachers and make sure the teachers are prepared to teach and make sure they have good materials to teach, basically. Yeah. But anyway, why are we here? We're here to talk about English, American culture, language learning, So what I'd like to do is, what we usually do every week, is for me to answer questions about if you're having difficulty with understanding a specific language point. You can ask a question about that. I'll do my best to answer. Or maybe you have a question about methods for language learning. How can you do this better? A lot of situations I've seen before, and so I can hopefully provide some good suggestions, some good advice. And also American culture. If you have questions about culture, maybe you don't understand a specific point of culture, I'm happy to talk about that too. Really, whatever can help you guys better understand the language so that you can reach your language learning goals. World Cup. World up. You wrote World up. Oh, you got to go. Cool. You said World Up, by the way, instead of World Cup. The World Cup is interesting because it shows, in my mind, it shows the gap between America and the rest of the world. One of the weird things about America is that it sort of likes to separate, and I'm not talking about myself, just sort of in general. Hello, YouTube. Welcome. YouTube is here. Hey, YouTube, do me a favor. I want you to feature my channel more, please, on your platform. That's what I want. More views. More views. Posting a video every day. Come on. So America is weird in this way. It in many ways separates itself from other countries and the rest of the world. Baseball. We play baseball only with other Americans. We have something called the World Series, but really it's the American series. It's like the championship for America. American football, we talk about it only ourselves. We don't have that much that we engage in with the rest of the world, for example, in sports, except for the Olympics. Of course, we do have a football team, a soccer team, as we would say, but it's not that popular in America. Also, I don't know if you saw my video about measurement, but we use, for example, Fahrenheit to talk about the temperature instead of Celsius. We use feet instead of meters. We use miles instead of kilometers. We use pounds instead of kilograms or kg, kilos, right? So we do that differently. And there are quite a few Americans who do not have a passport because many Americans are just not that interested in traveling to other countries, in going abroad. That's just a fact. And so that's an interesting thing too. I think a lot of Americans want to sort of just be American and not focus on the rest of the world. I sort of find that very strange because I love to travel. I love to experience other countries, other cultures, and other food. But I find it interesting how America sort of isolates, we can use the word isolates, itself in a kind of bubble in sports, in food, in measurement. And I guess that happens in other countries too. For example, China, I guess, does that in some ways. But that's weird. I think it's weird. It's weird. We're not very global, Americans. After a few minutes later, I know the meaning which is pretty similar, but I don't know what is the difference. Sometimes say later, sometimes say after. After a few minutes later. Yeah, so they're exactly the same. I'll answer your question in a moment, Judy. Let me answer Yunjong's question. So after a few minutes and a few minutes later, so the difference is how they're used, but they mean exactly the same thing. It's just a different use. So a couple of examples. I arrived at the bank at 6:30. A few minutes later, the teller asked me what I was waiting for. Or I could say, I arrived at the meeting on time. a few minutes later, everyone else arrived. I could say, after a few minutes, everyone else arrived. I could say, after I arrived, everyone else showed up. After I arrived, everyone else showed up. I arrived at 2:30. Shortly after everyone else. That means everyone else came first, maybe 2:20. I arrived at 2:30. I arrived shortly after everyone else. If I say when I arrived and then say shortly after everyone else arrived, that means I got there first. I got there at 2:30. Shortly after, everyone else got there. Everyone else got there just after that. Or a few minutes later, everyone else came. So I could say shortly after, a few minutes later, and those are exactly the same thing. It just depends on if I want to say I got there first or they got there first, and then I arrived after them. So Yunjong's sentence is after a few minutes. You could say after a few minutes first or after. You can say after a few minutes we decided to leave. Say we waited, and then after a few minutes we decided to leave. We waited, and after a few minutes we decided to leave. Then if you wanted to say after a few minutes, after the thing, then we could say, I tried to call customer service. After a few minutes, they answered. After a few minutes, they answered. A few minutes after I called customer service, they answered. A few minutes after they called customer service, I answered. So we can use it both ways, and it's the same meaning. It's just a different focus and different position. But a few minutes later, we cannot put before. We can't say a few minutes later, and then an action directly. So we can say a few minutes after I called. A few minutes after I called, they answered. A few minutes after I called, they answered. That would be correct. But we cannot say a few minutes later I called. That is not correct. We have to say I called. A few minutes after, they answered. That would be correct. That would be correct. So slightly different, but the same core meaning. Does that answer your question, Yunjong? Is that clear? Do you think Americans are open-minded about foreigners? Sometimes I'm afraid to make a mistake in English or letting they know I'm from somewhere else. I'm probably just being silly. Yeah, Judy, I wouldn't say you're being silly. Of course, in every country are going to have people who are not comfortable with others from other countries, right? People who are going to maybe feel like they only want to talk to people from their own country. Every country will have people like that. But generally speaking, I don't think that's true. I think, for example, if you come to New York, which is where I live, it's a very open place. New York is a very, very open, welcoming place. People don't care where you're from. People will talk to anybody. If you're from Brazil, if you're from America or Canada or China or the Middle East, or it doesn't matter. It's so open and so diverse. One of the reasons I really love New York is that New York is just so diverse and open and welcoming. That's not to say that everybody is friendly. New Yorkers are not famous for being friendly, but they are also very accepting. That means while they might not say, "Oh, hi, how are you?" They don't care where you're from. They might be rude to everybody, including other New Yorkers. So there's no difference in treatment, right? People are treated the same. So I don't think you need to be afraid of that. And I think generally Americans are pretty open to talking with new people. And I don't think you would be judged for being from another country. If someone does do that, then you shouldn't want to be friends with them anyway, right? But generally speaking, I think you don't need to worry about that. I think a lot of Americans would like to get to know you. Just be yourself. My advice to anybody is just be yourself. I And don't worry about making mistakes in English. Most people don't care. As long as they can understand you. Now, if they can't understand what you're saying, you're trying to say something, and they can't understand what you're saying, that's a problem. Then you probably need to work on your English so that you can be understood. Okay, that's different. If you're not able to communicate what you want to say clearly, if you're not able, then you're going to have trouble. And people might say, what? Sorry, I don't understand. What do you mean? Can you say that again? And then they might maybe not want to talk to you so much because they don't understand. But if you can communicate, even if it's not perfect, and you can get your idea across like you did to me. You wrote your comment, I understand it completely. It's not perfect. You made a couple small mistakes there in your writing. I understand it though. You have communicated successfully. And if you can do that, then you're fine. You're okay. Now, if you want to sound fluent and you want to sound perfect, well, that's a different thing. That's a personal goal. Nobody has to be perfect in English. You should only be perfect in English if that's what you want to do. You should only be fluent in English if that's what you want to do. Nobody can say, you must become fluent in English. They can only say, you need to be able to communicate in English. If you want to talk to English speakers and they don't know your language, you need to be able to communicate. But fluency is all about your goals. If your goal is to become a perfect English speaker or a very good or very natural, very fluent English speaker, there are lots of things you can do. You need to read more, you need to communicate more, you might need a teacher, watch movies, watch my videos, take a class, take a course, work on it every day. But it's only for your sake. You're doing it for you. You're not doing it for me. Don't do it for me. Don't do it for Americans. Don't do it for other people. Do it for yourself. Do it for your own personal life and what is good for you, what is best for you. Does that make sense? I hope I answered your question, Judy. That's just my opinion about it. It's not a yes/no answer. God damn it, what says, whenever I say your name, I can't just say, God damn it, what says. I have to say it very angrily. God damn it, what? I don't know if I have a problem in my ears, but every time I listen to natives, I get the feeling they pronounce the TH letters like D instead of yes. Okay, yeah, I understand that, but they are doing the TH sound. They're not saying duh. If you hear duh, 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 that's a very common pronunciation of TH in China. For example, if I can do my Chinglish for just a second, people in China generally either say z or s or d. For example, THAT in China might be that, this, or that, this, and that, this. I think, if it's a soft sound, I think something, something. I want something. That is very good. This is not. This is good. That is not. Okay, that is a hard duh sound. Duh, it's happening back there. Duh, duh. It's happening at the roof of my mouth. Not on my teeth. It's not touching my teeth. Or if it's that, z, 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 then it's a hard z sound, which is common in Chinese. There's a z sound that you hear in words like, it's often at the end in Chinese, z. We don't have that in English, actually. What you're hearing is fast TH. But if you watch native English speakers, they'll always do that. It's just very quick. That. And it might sound a little hard. It might not sound very long and soft, but they'll say something, 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 something. If you watch very carefully, something, 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 it's happening every time. It's just very quick. And if I say that, it sounds a bit hard. It's getting close to D. It's not that. So they sound similar, but I am still putting my tongue in the right position. and native speakers will put their tongue in the right position. Although, in very, very, very casual English, some people do use dat in some communities. Generally, I don't, but there are some people who do speak like that. I wouldn't teach that as a way to learn English. I would avoid that because it's not, it's very local, right? It's sort of like slang, saying dat. It's a specific style of speaking that's very, very local and very cultural. So you got to be careful about that. I would teach you that, to always put your tongue between your teeth. And then, if you want to be part of another local way of speaking, another dialect, go ahead, do whatever you want. But just know that most native English speakers and the standard pronunciation is the. Even though some specific groups will say duh. It's not nearly as common and not standard. What are the mistakes that even advanced English learners make? It's a good question. I really like that question. So Judy asks, what are the mistakes that even advanced English learners make? Here's the weird thing. The mistakes that even advanced English learners make are usually the most basic mistakes. Like saying many person instead of many people. Or I go to the supermarket instead of I went to the supermarket. Now, how would an advanced English learner make such a basic mistake? You know that if you did it yesterday, you should say, I went. If it's more than one, you should say people instead of person, right? You know that. The reason is because there's a huge gap between habits and knowledge. And I've said this before, but I'm telling you, it's the most common thing. Advanced English learners know lots of words, and they're able to express their ideas pretty clearly. They're able to put sentences together and paragraphs and get really in-depth and talk about lots of different topics, philosophy and art and culture. They can really speak clearly. But often the mistake that they make is that they haven't developed the proper habits. And when they say to themselves, it's a small thing, past, present tense, go, went, it's small. What they're doing is deciding that being perfect is not their goal. If being perfect is the goal, then challenging that habit is the most important thing to do. So often, the greatest challenge for the high-level English speaker is not to learn big words, and it is not to be able to make very long sentences. The challenge is to develop habits, deep habits, so that when things come out of their mouths, it's many people automatically, without even thinking about it. Or it's, I went to the supermarket, without even thinking about it. And yet, I don't have any high-level students who don't sometimes make that mistake. And you have to be willing to, sometimes, now we work on it until it gets better. But you have to develop self-awareness. It's so important. What is self-awareness? Self-awareness is the ability to listen to what's coming out of your own mouth. And most of us are not able to do that. Most of us, when we speak, it's a one-way street. It's going out into the world, and it's going bleh, and I'm not listening to it with my ears. But what am I saying? Am I using the word too much when I speak? Am I using, for example, the word like a lot, and that sounds weird? I have to be able to carefully listen to what I'm saying and what other people are saying and match them. And if I'm aware of myself, then I can begin to change my habits. Now, native English speakers are the same way. For example, the very first Yoli class, Yoli is the platform, the company I mentioned, we were testing it several years ago. The first class was with my brother. He's an American. And we were having a class, and I was trying to teach him. And he said the word like a lot. He's saying, I like, and it was like, and I said, well, if you really want to improve and speak more clearly, this is my brother, I was giving him feedback. Try to use the word like less. If you use it too much, people will think you're not very articulate, and you don't sound that smart when you use it a lot. And he said, oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay, let me try again. So I sent him the question again. And he said, and he did it again. He's a native English speaker, unable to change his habits. So I just want to bring this up one more time and say it one more time. Knowledge and habits are totally different. You can learn as much as you like, but if you don't have the habit to hear what you're saying and be able to self-correct and eventually do that in your head, then you're never going to speak naturally. And this is for people at a low level, and this is for people at a high level. And in fact, it's sometimes harder for people at a high level of English because they've been speaking for so long, the habits are very deep, right? And when the habits are very deep and you've been doing that for years and years and years, you can imagine a sort of road in the mind, and the road is very wide. Well, you've got to destroy the road and change the direction. So you've got to build a new road that goes that way, not that way. Don't say person, many persons, say many people. And remember that when you're trying to express yourself, make a new road, destroy the old road. It's a big process, it's a long process. It sometimes takes years to do that, but it is possible. And actually, I would say it's unlikely that anyone who starts after the age of 16 or 17 will ever actually succeed 100%. If you don't start at a young age, you're never going to be perfect, probably. So I know that might be bad news. I think it's impossible to become 100% fluent in English if you don't start at age 4 or 5. I think it's impossible to be 100%, but you can get very close. You can get close, probably never 100%. Yeah. So I hope that answers your question. It's important to work on habits. Okay. Hi, Luke. Your answer is so true. My English level is advanced, but I still make lots of mistakes in speaking. I don't make these mistakes in writing at all. How can I improve it? All right. So Chen Lu asks, how can I improve this? How do you do that? Okay, well, having a teacher is nice because they can point out where those things are. It's sometimes hard to notice them. When you say them, you're speaking about something, and it's hard to pick out when you're making those mistakes. So if you have a teacher who's going, there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one, then you get those and you review them and you think about them, and then the next time, hopefully it can be better. Second best thing is just to record yourself. Just to open your iPad, get out your phone, turn on the voice memos or voice recording, write down a simple question to yourself. Answer this question. The question is, I don't know, what is the most interesting cultural tradition in my country? Whatever, any question, doesn't matter. And then just start talking about that. I would say the most interesting cultural tradition in my country is Thanksgiving, because on Thanksgiving we celebrate, and it's not commercial, so we don't need to give each other gifts. There's not a lot of shopping. The reason I don't like a lot of holidays in America is because they're so commercialized. However, Thanksgiving is all about family, it's all about being grateful, it's all about gratitude, and it's all about spending time with family. Okay, now if I listen back to that, if I listen to it again, my recording, then I can take notes. Okay, well, I used some pretty simple words. I could say that better. Next time, change that. Next time, change that. Then I'll try it again. I'll try it again. I'll try it again. I'll try it again. This is what you can do, Chen Lu, to develop your habits, because it's going to force you to become more self-aware. Without self-awareness, you'll never be able to change your habits. So step 1, self-awareness. Step 2, self-correction. Step 3, mental self-correction. Step 4, better habits and fluency. How do you pronounce close that mean shut and close that means near? Ah, I see. So C-L-O-S-E that means shut, like shut the door, like that is z, 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 z. Shut the door. Close the door. Z, close the door. Shut the door. Close the door. Close the door. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. The other one, which is about how far away something is an S sound. There's no Z. The same spelling, C-L-O-S-E, C-L-O-S-E. But there's no Z under the S, so it's close. Close. We're very close. We have a good relationship. We are very close. I'm very close to my friends. I'm very close. Are we going to get there soon? Yeah. We're very close. We're very close. That means we're very near our destination where we're trying to go. That's the difference. Close, close. By the way, this type is called also close. It can be pronounced pretty much the same as close the door. Actually, it's close, but we say it so fast that we can't even really hear the difference. So we usually just say close. I'm going to go buy some clothes. I need to buy some new clothes. I just got some clothes. Got to go clothes shopping today. Good question. Good question. Chen Lu, did I answer your question correctly? Do you feel I answered it? Do you have any other questions? Yeah, no problem. Avira Fatana. Avira Fatana, is that correct? Is it Avira or Avira? It's a cool name. Avira Fatana. What's your name? Avira Fatana. It's very cool. You should have your own website, avirafatana.com. Selling some cool art or something like that. A cool name. Is that a real name? That's a cool name. Wish that was my name. Sir Luke Priddy. It's P-R-I-D-D-Y, not P-R-E-D-D-Y. Anyway, English idioms is difficult to understand for me. Okay, cool. What's your question? This is my impression of Avira Fatana. This is the homepage of avirafatana.com. Doran, what's your question? If you can be a little more specific, that will help. Yunjong says, so one of my goals is checking out all the time before my habits settle down. Then I can figure out what is right and wrong. Yeah. It's amazing to me how and I'm not even talking about language learning, how unself-aware people are, generally speaking. One of the things that teaching languages, teaching English so long has taught me what to pay attention to is self-awareness. It's amazing to me that most people, in general, I'm not talking about only speaking a language, I'm talking about just personality. Most people are not self-aware. And I'm not saying I'm super self-aware, more than everyone else, but it's one thing I definitely try to do. I try to be as self-aware as I can because that helps me improve. Because I have to make videos every week. I make videos all the time. And I need to watch myself. And when I watch myself and edit the videos, I have to see, oh my God, what am I doing? Right now, I'm probably doing things that are maybe annoying that I wouldn't like to look at again. For example, I've got kind of allergies going on, and I've noticed I've been doing that sniffing because it's sort of uncomfortable. That's probably a little annoying, right? So yes, you have to work on that. One thing that bothers me is that people say, well, it's just my personality. I'm just the way I am. I hate that so much. If anyone ever says to me, well, that's just the way I am. Well, that's just my personality. Oops, that's just how I am. Your personality is not what you're like only now. You've changed your entire life, but you didn't realize it. People change. Personalities change. You're going to be different when you're 90 years old than you are right now. Not just what you think and what you feel. Your personality is going to be different. So if you say, well, that's just the way I am, I'll never change, you've really basically just decided that you don't want to really improve. I'm not talking to anybody specifically. I'm just saying in general. But I think just like going to the gym to become stronger, just like going to the gym to build muscle, we should all go to the gym sort of for our minds, which is to think about, how can I be a better person? How can I be more interesting? How can I be more self-aware? How can I change my personality so that I can help others better and I can help myself better and I can be better at living in the world? And I think that's an interesting challenge. But for some reason, I think a lot of people don't think about their personality as something to work out like the gym. But I think it is. It really is. Because people change over time, over their lifetimes. People definitely change. God damn it, what says, I feel pain in my tongue when pronouncing R after the S. Wow. Like not that many words after S that have R. Serena, like that. Serena, like a name. Serena. Sir. It's sort of flicking your tongue back like that. Thir. Sir. I will try to change my habit and develop that self-awareness. Usually my foreign friends don't correct when we're talking. And so that habit is deep to be changed. Yeah, think about it, Chen Lu. Why would they help you? Why would they correct you? I don't correct my friends either. I have lots of Chinese friends who don't speak perfectly. And when they're speaking, I don't correct them. Who wants to correct their friends? That's not a good relationship. When I'm having a conversation with my Chinese friends, I want to just talk. I don't want to have to think about past participle. You're using the wrong verb. Change that. That's not the relationship you want to develop with your friends. So of course, your friends are not correcting you. Why would they? Why would they want to? That's a lot of mental work, and it makes the relationship unbalanced, not fair. Unless you have a special friendship where you have sort of, this hour we will do language exchange. I will talk and you will correct me, then you will talk and I will correct you. That works sometimes, but yeah, of course they don't. Of course they don't. I don't correct my wife. My wife makes mistakes sometimes. I don't teach her English. She just improves very slowly because, we communicate every day, but I don't correct her. Very big difference between teaching and friendship. Very big difference. Okay, what are your favorite movies and TV shows? Okay. Yunjong is super self-aware. Z is painful. So the interesting difference between the Chinese Z, which is Z, it's very hard. It's like zapping somebody with electricity. But the English Z is very soft. And it goes, the teeth are barely touching the tongue, a little bit, and the tongue is vibrating, but you should be able to make it long. Zoo. It should be something you can continue forever. If it's too hard, zoo, then it's not the English Z. So the English Z is very soft, very light. It's the same as saying S. So if you can say S, all you need to do is bring your tongue forward a little bit and bring in your voice. S, s, s. All I'm doing is changing my voice and moving my tongue forward a little bit, a little bit. My favorite movies, books, and TV shows. Well, my TV shows I like recently, Black Mirror is very good. That's an interesting one. Stranger Things, I really like that one. Recently, I've been watching a series called Westworld, which is very good, very interesting on HBO. I like Westworld. Um, my favorite TV show of all time is probably Star Trek, The Next Generation. It's kind of old. It's about space travel. Star Trek, The Next Generation. Really good. And then for movies, I don't watch that many movies recently, I guess. My favorite movie of all time is The Fountain. The Fountain. And yeah, I like documentaries. I love nature documentaries like Blue Planet and Planet Earth and anything with David Attenborough. David Attenborough is a British man. He's a host. He's very old now. And he talks like this. David Attenborough always his very sudden movements. He always explains things with a lot of hand gestures. And when he talks, it sounds like this. Very strange way of talking. Very interesting. Does a lot of nature shows. So I like those. I love nature and science documentaries. I like watching documentaries about science. But recently, I've been mostly listening to podcasts. So the reason I'm interested in doing a podcast is because I've been listening to Joe Rogan a lot. One good podcast is called The Joe Rogan Experience. He's really good because he can explore lots of different topics in a very open-minded way. He's very open-minded, and he's not afraid to go into sort of dangerous territory, dangerous area. So I like him. And for books, I read a lot of books, but I always listen to books, always. And I don't like fiction that much. I don't usually read much fiction, stories. I like nonfiction, books about business, books about habits, books about psychology, books about history, books about religion, books about economics. So I would recommend, if you want to read or develop your ear, your ability to listen, then download a book on Audible, audible.com, Audible, Audible. I have an Audible membership, which I love. And I usually get a couple of books every month. And so I try to listen to a book a week. But I can listen to the book, you can listen to the audiobook and walk around, so you're not just stuck doing this. I don't have enough time to do that. So I like to walk around, listen to audiobooks, or listen to podcasts. Okay, for me, Z is painful. Yeah, I meant that one. Oh, you mean R after TH. Oh, father. Oh, but it's the same. Der, there. You start there and you pull out. There. It's not that hard. Just got to practice it till it becomes comfortable. God damn it, what? What is the meaning of bad blood? Okay, so if there's a conflict between people, there's maybe a tension, people don't like each other. Maybe there are two colleagues in an office or a workplace, and they had a big argument before, and they disagree on some major point. So they have some bad blood between them. We have some bad blood between us. So it's sort of like because we fought before, because we had a disagreement before, because we had a big argument before, we were kind of fighting each other, and maybe some blood came out. So we now say we have some bad blood. We often add between us. But you can just say, we've got a bit of bad blood. My relationship with that person is not good. We don't have a great friendship. We are kind of like rivals or enemies almost. We don't really like each other. If we meet now, we'll probably argue. We'll probably fight. We've got a bit of bad blood, or we have some bad blood between us. Good question. Please teach us how to say mountain. I have no idea if the T is pronounced. It is pronounced. It is pronounced. So if T comes after N, then we usually are going to say it. Like mint. We have to say mint with a T sound very clearly. Mountain. 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 However, there are many words with a T in the middle that become either a D sound or a stop. And there are many words where the T sound at the end of a word is sort of canceled and replaced by a stop. So for example, D-A-U-G-H-T-E-R. Most people will not say that as daughter. So we would say mountain, tun, 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 with the clear T sound pronounced. Whereas when we say daughter, notice I'm not saying daughter, I'm saying almost a D sound, a very light, sort of like the Japanese R sound. Daughter, it's happening back there, behind where you would put your tongue for a D. A D is very near your teeth, right in front of your teeth. But daughter, the first D in daughter is right near my teeth. The second one is behind that, about that far, right on the ridge where the cleft meets the back of the roof of your mouth, which is called the palate. D, right there, and it's a bit softer. Daughter, 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 daughter. That's often a way to make a word sound more fluent. Because if you say daughter, it breaks the word. You have to stop the word, and it decreases the flow. It decreases the flow of the whole sentence. Now, at the end of the word, we often have a stop sound where we just say, huh. For example, W-A-I-T, we would often not say as wait, but we'll say it as wait, wait. Now, be careful not to say way. You can't just let it go on forever. You have to go, huh, and stop it. Wait, wait, wait for me, not way for me. Wait, wait, wait for me, wait for me, wait for me, wait for me. I'm still putting my tongue up in that place, but I'm not saying t. So I'm almost putting my tongue in the position of t, but not really saying it. Let me think if there's a word. There are quite a few words where the stop sound is in the middle. I just need to think of an example. Oh, here's a good one. F-I-T-N-E-S-S. So instead of saying fitness, we'll say fitness, not finis, not finis. That one would blend. We have to stop. Fitness, fitness, not fitness, not finis, but fitness, 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 witness, witness. Okay, I hope that's clear. And at the beginning of the word, we pretty much always will say the T sound clearly. Tomato, time, Timothy. We usually say it at the beginning, pretty much always. Judy, I hope that answers your question. What is mean by slang words language? Well, slang is language that's not, it's generally not something you find in the dictionary. It's maybe spoken only by some people, a specific group of people. Maybe young people say it. And you hear it a lot. You might hear it in movies, but it's not correct language. It's not standard English. So a common example is when people say hello to each other, instead of saying hello, people don't say that to their friends all the time. Sometimes people say, what up? What up? What up? But they say, what up? What up? What up? Hey, what up? Some people say that. I usually don't say it, but some people do. That means hello, but it's slang. It's not formal. So slang is sort of informal, usually new language that maybe is popular now, but will soon not be popular or maybe become a normal word if it continues. And again, it's localized. So usually this group of people will use different slang than this group of people. You have standard English that everybody knows, and then the different groups might speak different sorts of dialects and use different slang. There are a lot of slang words that I don't say and I don't even know in American English. I've read Sprig of Zest in a book, and even after I Googled it, I couldn't understand. Well, just seeing Sprig of Zest is also something I would just guess about. So, for example, a sprig of parsley would be a unit of parsley, one little thing that you would put down on the on maybe an omelet or something on a dish, a sprig of parsley, one leaf or one little branch of parsley. A zest is something that's zest is maybe from an orange. Sometimes they put, when you're eating food, you have what's called lemon zest. It's sort of the peel of the lemon that you scrape off and put in a dish or something like that. But I've never really heard sprig and zest put together. I don't think that's a common way to express that. But I would guess it's just talking about a certain amount of maybe lemon zest. If it's not that, one other meaning of zest is if someone has zest, that means they have a little bit of excitement in their personality. They have something interesting about their personality. You really bring a lot of zest to the table. That means you have some different way of looking at things, and it's new and it's different and it's kind of exciting. So it could be talking about that, but I don't know the whole situation. I don't know where it is in the whole sentence, so I would need basically the whole sentence to be able to judge what it means exactly, because I haven't seen those words put together precisely before. I wonder if I can find it on Google. Sprig of Zest. Someone asked the question, they give an example. This is from an episode of a TV show, Hannibal, Season 1, Episode 2, which is why you're here to prove that sprig of zest you feel is from saving Abigail, not from killing her dad. Okay, so the meaning in this case is not about the fruit and the skin of the lemon, it's about the excitement of doing something, the feeling of sudden maybe energy or passion you have about something. If you have zest for something, you're excited about that. You're showing some personal emotion toward it. A sprig is like one sudden, boo, like that. I want to be clear though, it's not common. It's not common. Under here, someone gives an answer. They say, zest has two main meanings, one related to personal energy and one is the colored outer part of the skin of a citrus fruit. In neither case does sprig of work well. Furthermore, as a culinary image, it actually hurts my brain because sprig relates to foliage, like I mentioned, a little branch, and never to that colored outer part of the citrus fruit. I agree. So this person is a native speaker and doesn't like this expression. They think it's weird. So I guess the person who wrote this line in the show Hannibal has done something that has never been done before. It's never been put together before. So it's not common. It's kind of weird. It's just a different way to express something. I wouldn't start using that in your daily language because people will say, huh? What? What? And even I had to just guess what it meant. In context, I can see what it means is a feeling of sudden excitement for something that you did. That's what it means. But I have to have the context for that, and it's really uncommon. Really uncommon. Really, really, really uncommon. I mean, not even uncommon. It's only done once, probably. It's probably never done again. Okay. What things are good to do daily for improving English pronunciation and proficiency? It's an interesting question. And what kind of English speak in America? Okay, can I recommend something? Is that okay? Can I do a plug? I know I shouldn't do this, but what I want to say is if you're interested in improving your English thinking, if you've seen this before, okay, we're getting close to the end of our Q&A, but I want to just mention this. If you're interested in improving your English, and I hope you can subscribe to my YouTube. Click the subscribe button wherever it is. I'm posting videos almost every day these days. And also, in the description, there is a link to Udemy. Those 3 courses are actually really useful for improving English fluency. Now, they're just videos, so you're not actually speaking with a person, but they are a really good way to learn new techniques and practices for improving pronunciation and how to think in English. So, I'm just going to show you this. If you want to stop watching now, I would not be angry at you because I'm about to promote myself, okay? So, go to udemy.com. It's in the description of this video, udemy.com, okay? And you can search my name, Luke Priddy, okay? I have 3 courses here. You can see this one is one of the highest rated courses on Udemy. This one is about speaking fluently, so basically how you put whole sentences together and flow from one sentence to the next, blending sounds, blending words. This one is about pronunciation of basic sounds, so things like vowel sounds. Yeah, P-R-I-D-D-Y, not P-R-E-D-D-Y. Look pretty, right? This one is about how you make specific sounds, ah and eh, ah, that sort of thing. And all of the words and tough sounds like ch and th and z, all of the things we talked about today. If you're interested in learning how to do those things better, then you should take that one. Each of these courses is 3 hours long, so it's pretty intense. Now, it's not just one video that's 3 hours long. There are many little lessons, so you can do it over a period of maybe a couple weeks. But once you buy the course, it's yours forever. That's cool. Right now, it's pretty cheap. It's only $10 for each one. $9.99, $9.99, $9.99. Pretty good. Pretty good. And then this one is many different techniques and things you can do to learn how to think in English. All of these courses are rated very highly. I have over 2,608 students so far. 4.8 out of 5, 4.6 out of 5, and 4.8 out of 5. So it's in the description. Click on the link. Check that out. Subscribe to this channel. And I am working on what is called a master class. These are each 3 hours long. I'm working on a course that's going to be 28 to 30 hours long. It's going to be ridiculous. It's going to be more expensive, but it's going to have basically everything that I know about how to teach languages is going to be in this course. Basically, once this course is finished, it's going to be, that's all you need to really, it's going to take you months to go through it. It's going to be, I think it's going to be really good. I'm very happy with it so far. I'm getting pretty close to finishing filming. I have only 6 or 7 more lessons to do. I've been filming it for the past 2 months. It's really hard work, but I'm really excited to launch it. And for the first couple weeks, I will do a special promotion where I will give you guys the ability to get it, if you want it, for a much lower price. So it'll probably be about $200 normally, and I'll make sure that when it first launches, it will be cheaper, much cheaper. Okay, maybe I can do a special price for people watching the live classes. Yeah, you're a little late, Sylvia. Sorry, Sylvia, we're just about to finish up. I want to thank everybody for watching and commenting and asking interesting questions. We're going to do this every Saturday at about 12:30. We were a little late today, but not too late for Yunjong. She's here, so last time we were too late for her, unfortunately. So make sure you guys do subscribe and make sure you write down questions for next week. Invite your friends. I really hope you can share this or at least get people to come in so we can have more viewers and it can be as useful as possible for everybody who's improving their English and working on learning. What's my lunch today? Mushroom and I, Mushroom is my wife, we're going to go to Flushing, which is a Chinatown that is real Chinatown. It's not like the fake Chinatown where you get American Chinese food. It is serious Chinatown. Everybody who lives there is Chinese. Many people who live there don't even speak English. And the food is 100% authentic. Well, very close. It's very good. So we're going to eat something called malaxiangguo. Malaxiangguo is basically, if I were going to translate, it would be something like dry hot pot. Malaxiangguo is very tasty. So we're going to go to Flushing. Flushing is amazing, and we're going to get some malaxiangguo, and I'm very, very excited. Very excited. Yeah. Hey, you're here. You're late. We're about to end. Sarah, what is the right way to build vocabulary? Well, a good way to start is to read. Find a book that you're interested in and read. And as you read, you can pick out words. You can pick out words that you don't know, but you also see them in context. You see them in the right situation. You can look them up in the dictionary and then learn them with knowledge of how it's used. Mushroom, you ready? Yeah, Mushroom's ready. It's time to go, guys. I gotta go. I gotta go. All right. Thanks for watching. See you next Saturday. Check out my recent videos. If you haven't already, I've posted like 4 or 5 videos this week. So please check those out and see you guys next week. Bring your questions. Bring good questions. Good questions are better. Thanks, Judy. Thanks for coming. See you. Yeah, you're late. All right. Chen Lu, bye-bye. See you guys. Bye. See you later. Bye. See you. Bye. Okay, bye. Bye. See you later. Okay, bye. That, but I just did it. Oh well. All right.